Yay, it says I am live here. It is a beautiful Sunday. Well, I guess it's technically afternoon right now. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to talk a little bit today about, as you can see by the thumbnail, chess and the true nature of our reality. Most people that follow me know that I have been really obsessing, focused on a chess recently. It is not just a board game. It is something that is way deeper than that. I actually wrote a poem about chess being not made by humans. I wanted to share that, and I'll get into more after. It may be hard to believe, but it's true. Chess was not invented by a human like you. Long before this world was brought into existence, chess was played for enjoyment and boredom resistance. Gods and goddesses battle, warfare on a board, a special kind of bloodbath where no one lifts a sword. Bishops as guns and knights on the attack, everyone ready for battle, even the castle fights back. Check the king here and take a piece there. Better double check before moving a square. It's not just a game that people love or hate. Chess is a tool that can change your fate. Not only is chess a game that measures intellect, but it is also a game of will. And this reality ultimately is about willpower. And whoever has the strongest willpower is, the one or ones that are going to rise to the top, right? If you have the willpower to, let's say, become a grandmaster, you're the only thing that is standing in your way from actually achieving that. And furthermore, actually becoming a grandmaster is going to open doors that would have never been open to you before. And if you choose the right pathway, it can lead to a heaven on earth. So, hey, Gogo, how's it going? Greetings from Germany. Chess is the best game. I agree. I love chess. And like I was saying in my poem, this is not a game that has been created by humans. Throughout this video, you're going to be hearing a lot of things that do not align with the narrative that you have been told. Nearly everything that we have been taught since birth is an inversion of the truth, a corruption, a lie. And that is something that I wanted to get into today because most of the people that are new to my channel, to me in general, a lot of them are coming from the chess world. So hopefully if that is you, you will use the intellect that you have to not just brush off what I'm saying, but actually do some research and look into what I'm saying to see the truth of your reality. Hey, Jason, how's it going? Hello from England. Top of the morning to you with some coffee. Well, I guess it's much later than the morning for you, isn't it? And I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea, but either way, hello. So yeah, chess was not invented by humans. It has been played for an extremely long time, even before this world came into existence. And this world has been in existence for a pretty long time. We're kind of more at the end of the line rather than at the beginning, unfortunately. But anyways, this reality that we are in is not just something that came into existence by a big bang chance. There was a creator involved, and this world that we are living in is not what we have been told. Many people still believe that they live on a giant spinning ball that came into existence by a chance big bang, and that they are evolved pond scum or slime that came into existence through evolution, right? Darwinian evolution. And these things are what is taught to everybody pretty much. And obviously, if you start to question these things and talk against it, you will receive a lot of backlash. But I'm not really worried about that. I'm going to continue speaking the truth. And like I was saying, hopefully you will actually use the intellect that you have. Like I'm putting a lot of faith in the fact that especially chess players pride themselves in intellect and, have the mental capacity to look into these things and connect the dots and see the bigger picture. So yeah. Hey, Akshar, how's it going? Hey, Snow, good day there. Yes, it is a beautiful day here. And I wanted to sit outside, but it is really windy. So hopefully next week I will be sitting outside in front of beautiful Mount Shasta so you guys can see her behind me. So the game of chess, like I'm saying before, has been played before this reality came into existence. It's been played by other species, not just humans. We are also programmed to think that humans are the most evolved, that we are at the top of the food chain. In reality, that is not exactly the situation. We are in a spiritual battle, and we as humans have been really dumbed down and led astray, deceived about pretty much everything. And there are reasons for that, which we will get into later. But humans being at the top of the food chain is definitely not the situation. We're actually closer to being farmed like cattle here. And yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Flatter Super Being says, good afternoon, beautiful Nana. I hope you're happy, healthy, and well. Thank you so much. I hope that you are also. It is a great day here, and I am feeling wonderful. The sun's finally out. The past few days, it was like all chemtrails and rain. So yes, very excited for some beautiful weather. Anyways, let us get a little bit into the truth of our reality, back up a little bit, and talk about the three most important questions that you should be answering. I've talked about this before, but for the new people, there are three important questions that you should be answering. Where am I, right? What am I? And why am I here? Kind of already mentioned this about the where am I part. Many people think that they are living on a giant spinning ball whirling through infinite space, and that is not true. We are living inside of an enclosed realm, just like all of the ancient cultures, religions, civilizations depicted in their drawings, even in their writings. They describe these enclosed realms that we are living in under what the Bible calls a firmament, a dome, a solid actual roof, the vault of heaven in other scriptures, I guess I'm trying to say. Jason says, hello, flat earth. It is not flat because cats would have tipped everything off. Oh, well, yes. Well, they do say that. But thankfully, our creator was intelligent enough to know that if he had put edges to jump off or fall off or whatever, humans probably would do that. But the realm is enclosed. There's not any, the only thing that you're going to be jumping off of if you go find a cliff to jump off of, right? But yeah, there's no physically leaving this realm, and we are kind of like the Truman Show depicts. We are being watched and judged not only by those that are outside, but also inside. Like in the Truman Show, there were characters that were in on it. There are those same types of characters in the reality that we are in, and they are the inverted ones, which we will get into in just a little bit. Uncovering this spiritual warfare that we are currently in. So the first question, where am I? That's pretty simple to answer. If you are still on the fence about this, go outside and try to find some curvature anywhere. There is none. Even from high altitude weather balloons, it shows a very close local sun. And if they're not using a fisheye lens, the horizon is completely flat from hundreds, thousands of miles up. Like they use a fisheye lens to distort it, and using a fisheye lens, you can be on the top of a globe standing like right on the ground, so it's really goofy. Flatter Super Being says, I don't mean to be intrusive, but is that a commune you are at? No, I am at a golf course. But anyways, the first question has been answered. Where are we? If you have further questions on that, I would encourage you to not only look into it, but you can ask me any questions either here or on Facebook, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Hey, Harmon Walker, how are you doing? It's actually not a dress that I'm wearing. It is a shirt, but thank you. I like it as well. Anyways, where are we? We have discovered that already. We are in this enclosed realm. We are being watched and judged. And as you will find out, there are many different psyops, psychological operations, different agendas being promoted to turn humans into the worst versions of themselves possible, to turn us into, parasitic, destroying the earth and destroying everything else in our path, and just evil, right? They want us to be seen like this so that they can ultimately make the case to the spiritual world that they need to call us off. But we'll get into that in just a bit, because there's a lot of stuff and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So hopefully you're ready to swallow the truth pill and go down this rabbit hole with me. So we're in the spiritual battle. Your soul did choose to come here. Kind of going into the second question is, what are you? You are a soul. This physical vessel that you're in is almost like, a container, a vehicle, a vessel in which you can interact in this physical reality. Outside of this physical reality, you don't have this, I don't want to say meat suit, but it's a flesh suit, right? There's no actual physicality of matter to you outside of this realm. The souls are made of ether, and the many different writings talk about, like the Bible talks about the spirit moving on the face of the waters. Sumerian writings talk about the cosmic ocean that existed before. And then it talks about the creation of this realm inside the midst of the cosmic ocean. So if you don't live under a rock and have heard the Beatles song, The Yellow Submarine, like their truth in plain sighting us, and telling us that we are living in this yellow submarine, and the yellow comes from it being pure gold, which is 100% transparent, and actually the strongest thing that matter can be formed into, which is, another thing that contradicts what we are told. We're told that, gold is this really soft metal, but the thing is that this really soft metal can become the most strong and sturdy and hard thing when it is put under intense amounts of heat and pressure. The heat builds up, and this actually will become more transparent as it gets hotter and hotter. But this technology isn't really given to humans. Like, we are given the lowest of the low. We're years behind in technology from what those that are running this world, those that are farming humans, are at, right? So people want to say, oh, well, globe Earth, we saw it all these years ago, and there wasn't CGI back then, and all of these excuses. Well, guess what? They actually had all of this technology way before they ever released it to us. We're kept seriously in the dark so that we can be more controlled. Like, I don't know what iPhone they're at right now, but it's like they already have the iPhones for many more generations in the works or made already. Like, the technology is already there, it's just being hidden from us. So anyways, we are living in this yellow submarine, and your soul came into this yellow submarine by choice. The third question, why are you here? That's what you need to figure out. If you are here to just eat bacon and watch football and masturbate to pornography, like, if you really think that that's what your soul came into this world to do, I sincerely pity you, because you have been very led astray. Your soul came here for much bigger and better things. And ultimately, if you came into this reality as a real human, as opposed to an invert, someone who inverts themselves, Bruce Jenner, you know what I'm saying? Picking up what I'm laying down. Those of us that came in as real humans came in here ultimately to fight for the side of light, and they came in to fight for the side of darkness. And along the way, humans have been programmed in every various sort of way to go away from their actual soul's goal, including mainstream religion, where, specifically I came from mainstream Christianity, where the focus is really like, this is not my home, I need to get to heaven. It's like a very very focused on getting out of here, right? And if you think about it logically, if all of the good souls just decide that they don't want to be on Earth anymore, only the bad souls are going to be left. And we can see all around that they have been in charge for a very long time, and this place has gotten extremely dark. And we're at a time now where we can choose to take back our power, take back this knowledge, and use it to truly manifest a world of beauty. My goal is to manifest a golden age of peace, of prosperity, and the protection of innocence. I want to be a mom. I want to make a world that is safe for babies. And I want humans to be able to be free. There's no reason that we are on these little hamster wheels working 9 to 5s to try to make ends meet. The whole family unit is being completely split up and destroyed in this whole capitalist endeavor, trying to make ends meet and get ahead in life. And it's just negative consequence after negative consequence, and we have the power to change it. Nobody created this realm and set in stone that humans must work a 9 to 5. You must pay your mortgage, you must pay taxes, all of this stuff. Like these things, these rules have been imposed on us, and we have just been asleep at the wheel. Not only just asleep and letting them do it, but also fueling into it, because our own actions are either making that paradise manifest on Earth or making it into a hell. And most people are still manifesting the hell just by their daily food choices. So let's see what's going on in the live chat here. Flat Earth Super Being said, I could listen to you for hours. You are a wise teacher. Thank you. I'm not sure what is being said here between Harmon Walker and Akshar. Or wait, I was really confusing on my screen here. Okay, it was Akshar that's saying, wonder what that feels like, dreams. It's a good question. Very good question. It's interesting that some people are able to, lucid dream and control their dreams. There are some other cultures that say that you are entering into a spiritual, a spiritual state when you are dreaming. So that's an interesting thing, but not what I wanted to get off on topic to today. Flat Earth Super Being says, they say diamonds are just cool. That's been under extreme pressure. I personally I'm not convinced that that is true either. Yeah. Otherwise, Santa should bring us all cool for Christmas, and let's put it under pressure and get some diamonds, right? Just messing. Okay, so we've kind of talked already about where we are, what we are, and why we are here. These 3 important questions. And if you are not able to answer those yet, I definitely encourage you to dive into some of the things that I've been saying. What just popped into my mind was that I need to revisit number 2 again. What are we? Not only are we these souls inside of physical vessels, but these physical vessels were created intelligently. They did not come from evolution. Evolution, as Darwin expressed or described, or whatever you want to say, as Darwin promoted it, as is promoted in the mainstream today, is not even possible. This whole concept of like a monkey evolving into a human, like none of these things are actually real. And I'm going to give you 3 points really quick to tell you, to solidify the truth that these things are not real. The first one is that your DNA is self-healing, and healthy DNA cannot be permanently modified. So in order to modify DNA, it not only has to be broken, so it's getting worse, right? Like when you break something, it's not getting worse. If I were to toss this cup onto the ground and it smashes, it's not going to be an improved cup, right? So DNA has to be broken in order to be permanently modified. And when genetic engineers go to try to permanently modify DNA, they find that if they don't put the cells under artificial antibiotic selective pressure, these transgenic elements that they've tried to insert in will actually be spat out within 3 passages in vitro. So they actually can observe. They try to put these transgenic elements into whatever they're trying to modify. And if they don't put it under this artificial antibiotic selective pressure, they see the original creation returning back to normal as it tries to heal itself and go back to God's form. It literally fights back against these modifications. So the whole concept of like us going from one species to another doesn't even logically make sense with how DNA works. The second point is that all transitional fossils are fake. They already have publicly admitted that Lucy, the ape chimp, whatever the heck it is, and Piltdown Man are both frauds. And if evolution was real, there wouldn't need to be any fakery, right? They could just show us actual real things and then and have their theory stand on that, but they can't. And the other transitional fossils that they have out, I'm not sure that, like, you know, as soon as they start to DNA test them, they'll find out that they are fake. I'm not sure how many actually have been DNA tested at this point, besides for Lucy and Piltdown Man. But they have been verified frauds. So all transitional fossils are fake. DNA is self-healing. And the third one is that evolution has never, ever been observed. Dr. Lenski observed over 60,000 generations of E. coli, very quickly reproducing product here, and found no new speciation by mutation throughout 65,000 generations. So it's like, how long do you have to keep waiting for something to happen? Like, it's quite ridiculous to even think of it. But I also come from a background where I never learned evolution as truth. I always thought it was really stupid. Like, no one comes along to a snowman outside and says, oh yeah, I'm sure that those snowflakes randomly fell into this perfect position to make this snowman. Likewise, I'm like, if you want to believe that you evolved from apes, you go ahead, but I already know that I'm too beautiful to even have evolved from apes. So that's just really silly. But this whole concept of degrading humans and making us less than kind of goes along also with the agenda to make us the worst versions of ourselves possible, right? They try to promote that we are evolved pond scum, that we are cattle. They promote, you know, consuming cow's milk to keep you that little baby goyim. And now, more recently, they're trying to promote eating bugs, which is like even more degrading than eating dead flesh. Like, you could just imagine humans crawling on the ground, picking out bugs from the dirt and eating them. Like, I'm not a mom yet, but I would be so appalled if my child was eating bugs. Like, that is not something that I ever want to like see them do. So I guess my perspective comes from that. And it's just really bizarre that people are actually kind of like thinking that bugs might be a good anything. It's just another one of these agendas to degrade us, like I was trying to say. Hey, Faith, how's it going? Let me see what's happening in the chat here. Hey, Clint Jabel, how's it going? Faith says, hey, Queen, I honestly love your videos. You're the reason why I became vegan. Oh, yay! And started my awakening journey to find my real purpose. Most of my family just owned my choices, and I felt really alone, but I never regret my decision. I could never go back to doing the evil I used to do, eat innocent animals. I feel like the awakening process is very lonely, as most people, well, majority, do not know the truth. And just think you're not normal, because I grew up in a very strict Christian household, and my father does not respect this decision, and he's even a doctor, but my mother is mostly supportive, though. Oh, wow. It definitely is. It can be a very lonely journey when you start to awaken and start to believe things that contradict what everybody else believes. And like, especially when it comes to like your family and friends, you desperately want to share the truth with them and wake them up too. And when they reject you, it can be even more painful than, you know, everybody else rejecting you, because you're like, wow, I really like personally want and invested in this person trying to wake up, and they're not having it. another thing, a part of that is that the truther community, many are inverts. Unfortunately, the human population en masse is really not focused on the truth of our reality and more focused on all of the distractions, the whatever recent news story is going on, whatever NBA players, any of these stupid distractions that are made to purposefully keep us distracted, right? Keep you as a zombie lulled and just go along in this autopilot. And then you're on your deathbed and you look back on your life, you're like, wow, what did I even do that was worth anything in this world? Like, yeah. Thankfully, we don't have to die ignorant. That's one of the things, like, as painful as this awakening process can be, I'm so grateful that my eyes were opened. I'm not claiming that I'm fully awake yet. I don't believe anybody is fully awake. But we are definitely blessed, those of us that can see and that aren't going to die ignorant. But yeah. Anyways, what I was saying just a second ago was that the truther community at large is really full of inverts. They make up the majority. They make up the majority of the people that are making videos and all of this stuff, which is one reason why I'm always like posting my hips, because it is so important for people to know that I am a real girl in the midst of everything that is so fake. For many people, the people that are new to my channel especially, I'm probably the first girl that you have ever even seen through a screen, which is really hard to believe. But all of your, A-list celebrities, even B, C, and D-list celebrities, holy cow, politicians, Instagram models, famous YouTubers, TikTokers, all of the famous people in our world are completely controlled and they are inverted. So it's really a really hard pill to swallow, but it's one that hopefully you are at a place where you are mentally able to at least entertain something and do research to see if it's true or not before you automatically, deny the truth. Faith says, I do try and educate them and wake them up, but mostly it causes arguments. I wonder when they will ever wake up and change their lifestyle. I agree as well, and I try to plant seeds as much as I can. But when I first woke up, one of the things, like, I was really into exposing TV pastors and all of these really big, mega church pastors that are preaching not what the Christ preached. And I really tried to, wake up my family and be like, your favorite pastors and inverted Satanists. And yeah, I definitely could have handled that better, but yeah, we just have to keep planting seeds and hope that they will finally someday wake up, Harmon Walker says a lot of their family are on their third shot. Wow, that's crazy. Flatter Super Being says, I can sense, Inanna, that you need to be a mother because it's in your soul and you are a loving woman. That's my drive in life. Creating a golden age is awesome, but if I couldn't have a baby during that golden age, it's like, why am I even doing this? I mean, I do want to save humanity and I do want to make the world better and even save the animals. But for me personally, like, I really, really want to be a mom, and I don't see really, that's kind of getting a little bit depressing, but it's hard for me to see a purpose of existence without me being able to be a mom at some point in the future. So anyways, Harmon Walker says that they did try to step in with their family, but that ship sailed years ago. Yes. Jason says, I wonder what she thinks of Miami Beach. I have never been to Florida, and I don't really, I don't pay attention to the news much to know, like, what specifically you're talking about. But I know that there was recently a lot of people being drawn to Florida for their freedom over masks, and I think that is a trap. Anyways, Clint says, Neil deGrasse Tyson said that science should stay out of their social gender ideas. Okay. Well, that would probably make sense, seeing how Neil deGrasse Tyson is a female, and anybody got a DNA test, she's going to be like, keep your science out of this. Doesn't matter. All that matters is my feelings. Anyways. Hiram Walker says, I agree, no one is fully awake. I play a game some days. I try and find something that I'm still asleep to. It's really quite difficult, but fun. Yes. Well, with the constant barrage of new psyops being tossed at us every which way, there's, so much information to uncover and relearn. So, yeah. Anyways, I've talked about where we are in this spiritual battle, the forces of light and darkness. It's kind of like where we are in earth being the lower parts of heaven and the upper parts of hell. And, the general overall vibration of the people, the souls, not just the people, but the souls inside of the mother make up her vibration. So, looking out into the world, when we see all of this darkness and so many humans feeding into the darkness, we can logically deduce, that the mother in her vibration is getting lower, right? We're being pulled, dragged down even lower, rather than if we were to start to purify, then the world would be brought up higher. So, hey Kyle, how's it going? Flatter Super Being says, remember to hit the like button, folks. This needs more exposure. Thank you. I appreciate that. Axar says the chess tournament is getting fire. Yes, let me actually post a link to the main page with all of the chess games. Hey Atreus, how's it going? This is the current chess tournament going on in the Facebook group, chess games, tournaments, and more. If you're not in there, please do join. We want to start up some more tournaments in the future, so let me know if you are interested. One of the things, like I was saying before, about how chess can change your world. Maybe you have dreams of becoming a grandmaster. You can definitely do that. If you want to participate in this tournament, I do assure you that there are many watching, not only in this world, but outside of it. And you can either impress us or not so much. But yeah, chess can open doors for you and produce a future that otherwise could not happen without chess. Obviously, most of you who are watching my show already know that we are living in a completely controlled reality. The enemy, the adversary of humanity, Ha-Satan, is a nickname for the adversary, one who stands against humanity, not against God. They're not fighting each other. It's Satan is standing against humans and trying to corrupt us, trying to turn us into clowns, deceive us. And, well, ultimately, this is a game for souls, right? There are two sides fighting for souls, whether the souls are going to be purified or the souls are going to be further corrupted. And I am on the side of purification and desperately pleading for people to please start caring. Like, what you do in this world actually matters. They try to tell you that it doesn't matter. They try to tell you that you are meaningless, evolved slime on a giant spinning ball. And it's actually not really a giant spinning ball, because compared to the infiniteness of infinite space, we're just such a little tiny little flea on the side of it's just ridiculous, right? Like, they're saying that you don't matter. What you do here doesn't matter, because obviously, since you are evolved slime that came in here by chance, you're not a soul or anything. Once the game is over, it's lights out. So why would it matter what you do here? Why not just be the worst version of yourself possible and do every single little whim that is presented to you by this world, all these different temptations that are constantly thrown at us. My biggest temptation in this world, most people already know, is food. I love eating delicious vegan food, and purifying my diet is really my biggest struggle in life. But it is, all of these different temptations are geared to specifically attack each individual one of us, whatever your specific temptation or problem area is. There are demons that are sitting there, throwing this at you, whispering into your ear that you want it, even giving you their sense of pleasure. Like, it's not actually a sense of pleasure coming from your own soul when you're doing some of these evil things. These demons are living vicariously through you, and you are getting to experience the high that they are feeling when you are doing this. So we also need to learn how to separate our own soul's desires from these other entities, these external forces that try to influence us. A lot of people, if you don't think that you're in a spiritual war, if you think that you are just meaningless, evolved pond scum, you don't understand that there are these demonic forces that you can be used as a puppet. I mean, even if you do know them, they can still use you as a puppet. But the more that you know, the better that you can react to the situation that you are in. Everybody in this world can be influenced by demons, and humans, being as imperfect as we are very susceptible to falling prey to them. Whether it's, they can come into a situation and escalate things on both sides, right? You could have two people that are, maybe you're in a relationship or something, and just a little bump in the road happens, and then these demons are whispering into both of your ears to add fuel to the fire of the situation. And ultimately, if they can get you guys, like divorce or break up or whatever over something like so tiny, they're going to be laughing at you. But if we know that these attacks are happening, then we can better stand against them, right? Like, my mom comes from the Christian background, but she doesn't really want to hear about any of my perceptions. Is kind of going back to what Faith was talking about family not really being ready and not really accepting it. But I'll tell my mom, like it was a demonic attack to try to make me feel over emotional about something or something. And it's just like, let's just focus on the blood of Jesus. Like, all right. I personally am not into that. I think that we should focus on, the truth of our reality and understanding more than just what religions present to us. All of the world's main religions are at best partial truths, and designed to divide and conquer us. If you look at religions, so many of the world's religions, without your own set of glasses, your own programming, you're going to see how so many of these occult truths, hidden truths, actually overlap, and how ancient religions, all being worshipers of the creator, and even having a balance between masculine and feminine divine, and how all of these things have not only been switched into different religions, but hidden, and it leads to confusion and dividing and conquering us, rather than us all taking off our glasses that we have seeing the world with, right? Like, we've been programmed throughout our lives to see the world through these specific glasses. And if we take them off and actually observe things, we're going to see something a lot different. And that's one thing that I really am important, or that I find important, is finding where these truths overlap and standing together with people in the truth, rather than allowing different beliefs to divide and conquer. Although I do definitely allow certain things to divide and conquer. It's like, if we're standing in truth, we're standing in all truth, and we're not going to be letting different lies corrupt us. So if you want to bring in other lies, like, then we're going to have to duke it out. And hopefully, we're at the point where both people in the situation are actually looking for the truth, and will lay down their sword, so to speak, if they are the one that is wrong, being presented information that is right. Flat Earth Super Being says, I love chess, but I don't want to give my details to Zuckerberg. That is understandable. Atreya says, do you know of anyone in the public eye that isn't inverted? No. I am, I've been transvestigating for many years, and I don't believe that Satan allows inverted. Even the most popular YouTube channel. And again, this is why I am so adamant about because they are the golden standard for sex discrimination. Female flare out while male hips do not. You know, the Shakira song, Hips Don't Lie. Well, that is literally a dude in a dress trying to seduce you by shaking his butt, telling you that hips don't lie. You know, it's a joke on you. It's a really sick joke, but at every turn they're trying to get humans to not only lust after the same sex dressed as the opposite sex and invert, right, but also to want to be like this, right? Every little girl is growing up, well, I shouldn't say every little girl, but most of the little girls grow up looking at Hollywood A-listers and, you know, wanting to look like these models that are super skinny and have no flaring hip bones. And they wonder why they can never look like that. It's because they're not boys. And when we see the behavior that they are emulating as well, how many of the ones on TV, the ones that are coming to mind right now are the leaders of the feminist movement, which are all dudes, and how absolutely vile they are. And they want us, real women, to act like them and go around, you know, just saying disgusting stuff like we love to bleed, which is like so disgusting. Like it's not something that we should be like having menstruation cookies in celebrating this. Like, menstruation is a disease. If you are eating properly, your body's not going to be bleeding like people that are constantly eating death do. It's not something to be prideful over. It's not something to be happy about bleeding. And it's certainly not something to be like, hey, everybody, you want to come over for some period cookies? Like, I've seen these online, like they made, I don't even want to even tell you what it was. It's just disgusting. Why would you even want to like make a pad or a tampon or something to eat that? Like, I don't get it. Anyways, Jason says a flat earth sucker can't do anything with them anyway other than try to sell you stuff. Yes. Well, they do spy on us, but basically everything in our reality is completely controlled anyways. They already know the information that they want. They already, I mean, everything is controlled. So anyone, like, if anyone's trying to really hide from them, it's not realistic. Yeah. Axar says, what do you think about switching to MeWe? I actually am on MeWe technically, but it is another one of the sites that doesn't load at my house. So I rarely get on it, and it's really, unfortunately, not as popular as Facebook. I'm not really like, I don't do what I do for popularity, but I do what I do to reach the masses and try to get my message out there to change the world, right? If I'm only talking to a 5 people in a small room, like, it's not going to have an impact. It's not going to actually change the world. Well, it eventually could change the world, right? If you started a small group of people and eventually worked out, but it would take definitely a lot longer. Thankfully, we live in this age where we have this technology that we can connect with people all over the world and, you know, let our voices be heard. I definitely appreciate technology, and I want a future with technology in it. I'm not trying to go completely back to the Garden of Eden type lifestyle where there wasn't technology. I personally think that we should use robots, that robots should be doing all of the work that, you know, all of the tedious manual labor, and humans should sit back and enjoy life. Like, if I could have a robot that would come in and like clean the house and do the dishes and all of this stuff, and I could actually do what I enjoy in life and focus on that instead, that would be awesome. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's definitely the future that I want to go towards. But also making technology that is in unison or in cooperation with nature, in that it's not hurting us, like the 5G towers, even this computer and the Wi-Fi that they have here in the, you know, light that is the blue light from the screens, like all of these different pieces of warfare against us, smart technology that's actually hurting us. So and it doesn't have to be like this, right? it could be very easily changed, but it also further goes to show that there is, you know, an anti-human agenda going on, that all of these things are anti-human, right? We're being sprayed like bugs. Like, come on, how much does it take to people to wake up and be like, there is something really wrong here? Unfortunately, it takes a lot for people, because it is a huge paradigm shift to actually start to wake up and realize, like, pretty much everything that you ever thought was not true. Every hero that you've ever had on TV, every, you know, political hero or anything like that has all been fake. Like, it's not only a huge pill to swallow, but it can be extremely dark. So I kind of understand why some people are also hesitant to want to swallow the pill, because it's like, if it's a world run by, you know, inverted satanic human baby eating, you know, so and so, like, I would rather completely stay asleep than to accept that as my reality. What were we even talking about? I lost my train of thought. Extra says all of big tech, like pharma, is theirs. Yes, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry needs change as well. Like I was saying earlier about your DNA being self-healing, like, your body has these mechanisms in place that constantly want to heal you. And the biggest problem that humans are facing is what they put in their mouths. They're constantly eating poison 3 times plus a day. And now all of those mechanisms that are trying to heal you have to deal with all of this crap that you're putting in and try to, you know, process all of that. A lot of this stuff, you know, will get stored in your cells as these toxins and just horrible stuff that's just not, the system's not allowed to clean itself out. So now you have built up your body, you know, you become what you eat. So when you put it in, you're eating these building blocks that your body will essentially use to build and rebuild you, right? And when you're constantly in a state of feasting, and further, you're feasting on junk, like, you're really doing a lot of damage to your body. And those healing mechanisms really can't do what they were designed to do, because they're so focused on combating what you're doing in the present time. Most of you may already know that I run the dry fasting community on Facebook. I encourage people to not only purify by stop eating corpses and eating things that we're not designed to eat, but also finding a proper balance between feasting and fasting, so that our body can, while we feast on delicious fruits and veg that our Creator designed for us to eat, our body is building up pure new building blocks with that food. And then on the flip side, when we are fasting, the body is able to finally clean out all of his junk that we have been putting in for so long. The current medical industry is, you know, based off of big pharma education, if you will, right? The doctors all go through the same education to become what they are becoming. And that syllabus, that parameter of teaching is all that they're taught, right? They're definitely not taught that the body is a self-healing machine, right? They're mostly taught to prescribe pills, to, if you know, have cancer, go in and chop it up, to cut off body parts, to put things into the body, to take them out, like, completely unhealthy and unnecessary. When you start to chop things up and put things in or take things out, then you're not only interfering with the body's natural mechanism, like, you're going to cause problems down the road, and it's completely unnecessary, as the body is a self-healing machine. We just need to step out of the way, take a step back, and stop putting stuff in for, you know, one day. Holy cow, many people can't even do one day of not eating. But if you could even just do one day of how healing that could be for you, I definitely encourage people to do that, because, yeah. Purification is really important. If you haven't seen my video on how to become immortal, let me grab you the link. I go do some readings from different extra biblical texts and talk about how this relationship with demons can be formed by our various actions. So when you keep participating in evil, this kind of just like a relationship with anyone, right? If you're bonding with somebody, you're strengthening that relationship usually by doing something that you have in common or whatever, that you're this common interest, and you're forming that bond with them. It's the same concept with demons, and when we're participating in evil behaviors, we're solidifying those bonds with demons. And when we die, there has to be some sort of action to separate our soul from the demons that we have connected ourselves with. And I go into more detail in this video if you are interested in that. How to become immortal. Hey. Says you're my favorite ministerette. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Flat Earth Super Being says, I'm trying to compliment you, and YouTube are censoring my comments. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe if you're using a specific keyword that they don't like, probably. Atreus says, also, I've been into DNA, RNA, and spells in the English language. So do you say understand or understand? When I first woke up, I was really into all of these understand, all of this stuff. But at this point, I'm just trying to relay the message as simply as possible to people and not to play these semantic games, especially when so many in the truther community only care about one or two words, and then they don't want to look into the original meanings of anything else. They don't want to see how the word narcissist has changed over time. They don't want to question so many different things. I don't want to play these silly little games. So Gogo says, do you think there are more realms like ours beside us? I don't believe in any other physical realms, but I think that in the cosmic ocean, a lot of things are possible. We aren't limited to the things that we're limited in here. So other worlds could be made that are not actually physical, that are outside of this realm, if that makes sense. But they're not physical reality, so ultimately they don't matter. If our souls wanted to be in those other realms, then we would be there instead of here, yet we're all in here, and the majority of the watchers are watching what is happening in here. Herman Walker says, in my opinion, one truth I uncovered is that water is not H2O. The same theoretical scientist who gave us the ball gave us H2O. It might seem small to you, but it hides the hidden power. I have had some people try to tell me that chemistry is not real before. It's not something that I personally have dug into before, but there is some interesting information in one of the Clementine homilies that actually basically talks about how atoms, I guess, are another hoax. So we'll have to talk about that in a future video. Sounds very interesting. Hey, Chad, how's it going? Chad says, fasting is the way. Autophagy wins. Absolutely. Yes. Jason Fisher says, Harmony, my dear friend, hydrogen is the most common element in the universe and has the atomic number of 1. If aliens were to be found, this is probably the only thing that we would both understand. Well, I do believe in aliens, but that they are interdimensional entities and usually demonic in nature. So yeah, there are also, many of you already know about Project Bluebeam and the potential of a coming fake alien invasion. I say potential because, they could, there's not anything that's technically set in stone. They could change their plans at any whim if they wanted. Let's say, if every human, or maybe even more than half of humans, woke up tomorrow to the space deception and stopped believing in aliens, they might decide not to do the alien invasion, right? So nothing is set in stone. My point being is they're putting a lot of energy into this fake alien invasion, and so much programming behind it with different movies, even the new Buzz Lightyear movie coming out. So it'll be interesting what they do with that and how they, twist the story. If it's humans have to gather together and fight the aliens or whatever, I don't even know what they'll probably come in and say that Trump saves the day or something really ridiculous. Don't worry, aliens are here, but Trump is the best to take care of aliens. Just Nobody takes care of aliens better than Trump. I'm not a Biden fan either, just for anybody new. Every president has been a puppet. They're all females, first of all, and they're selected and groomed for their roles. Your whole vote, the voting illusion, all of the stuff about voter fraud and everything. It's like every election has been rigged. Whether you're voting for the right hand or the left hand, you're still voting for the same puppet master. And the puppets don't even believe like the stuff that they're saying. They're just acting. They're putting on a show and pretending to squabble and fight each other so that humans will be divided and conquered and fall into these different categories and pick sides and pick heroes and not unite together against the clowns that are doing this all to us. Atreus says, keep your tonsils and wisdom teeth. Unfortunately, I, in high school, had 3 wisdom teeth removed, and I definitely regret that. There are, not that I even had a choice back then, right? Like when you're a child, you're still going under what your mom and dad say, and they're not ones to usually question the system. So yeah, there's a post that goes around that talks about how your teeth kind of act like circuit, like fuses in a circuit. And not only that, but there are different, pathways from your teeth into different parts of your body. So when you are doing oil pulling, which is one of the things that I recommend for oral health, you take a little bit of oil and you swish it around in your mouth for about 15 to 20 minutes, spit it out in the trash can. And if you actually start like swishing and chewing like you are eating, it's going to start to activate these different processes in your body, and it actually will help to detox your body to swish the oil around. And using those little pathways right from your teeth to all these different organs, it can help pull things up into the oil, draw it into the oil, and then you spit it out. So I definitely recommend that. And even further than keeping your tonsils and wisdom teeth, I do not promote getting cavities filled either. Oil pulling can heal those cavities. But once you go into the dentist, they're trained to take out more of the tooth than they actually need to. Like if, your cavities are this big, they're trained to go in and take out this much so that, we want to prevent anything further from happening. So they take out an even larger amount of your tooth than is necessary. Well, it's not necessary at all, but anyways, they're taking out a lot of your teeth, and then by filling it in with that stuff, who even knows what's in that crap that they put into our mouths, right? Like even with the mercury fillings and stuff in the past that we know now are harmful, what are we going to find out about this stuff in the future? But anyways, filling in, like cementing in this nasty stuff into your teeth so that those pathways in like the tooth becomes, basically non-functioning now, right? There's no way for that tooth to heal now that they've went in and scraped out so much of it and then filled it in with like gunk. It's really sad that people don't know these things. Like I really wish that I knew this stuff growing up and had never like even gone to the dentist at all. So I haven't been into the dentist for many years now. Or a doctor. I don't trust big pharma, and I suggest that everybody else avoids them as well. Harmwalker says, Jason Fisher, we will never agree on that about the aliens. To me, that is just comic book, but that's cool. Best of times to you. Hey, Nicholas Pitts, how's it going? I don't see the first comment that you may be correcting with the not sure comment there. So you might have to re-put that comment in there. Jason says, don't talk about Trump, LOL. Did he actually do anything? He was running your country from Twitter. Trump is not a he, but a she. Trump was bailed out of debt by the Rothschild. Trump Tower was funded by Soros. The name changed from Trump to be the New World Order Trump card. Trump promoted the space deception, and Trump brags about the COVID jab being the father of the jab. So anybody whose family has been hurt by that, or even worse, killed, and you want to still praise Trump, wow, that is a special type of Stockholm syndrome. But yeah, I have always been very conservative, very patriotic. So when Trump came on the scenes, they're saying all of the right things to tickle my ears. But thankfully, I had already started the awakening process. And I'm like, presidents are all selected, not elected. There's something going on behind the scenes here. This is not real. And everything that has happened since then has just further confirmed that for me. Atreya says oil pulling, interesting. Never heard of that. Yes, there are obviously different types of oil. Some people use like olive oil. I personally have only used coconut oil. And until recently, I do still prefer the kind that doesn't taste like coconut because it's just really gross to me. But I've heard that the coconut oil that doesn't taste like coconut has specific chemicals in it that take that taste away, so it becomes worse for you. Anyways, my point is that you can experiment with different oils. It's not just coconut oil that is used. And if you are getting one, I would definitely suggest to use the most, most pure that you can, raw if possible. Just the most natural thing that you can do to have the process going. Knowledge Seeker, do you also watch the Mag Bitter Truth channel? I don't watch any truthers, and I'm pretty sure that the Mag Bitter Truth channel is the one that is goes bam a lot in their transvestigation videos. I don't watch any transvestigator that doesn't put their own body as a comparison for the ones that they're transvestigating. If you don't show your own biomarkers, red flags all around. The inverts are the majority of the transvestigation community, and that can be really depressing once you find it out, but it is the truth. Like I was saying earlier, humans really aren't too focused on the truth of our reality. They're very asleep still and focused on the distractions. And inverts, on the other hand, not only are focused on the truth, but they have a very big investment to go into the transvestigation groups to go and see if they're still passing. They're like, okay, what do the humans know? What do we need to do better to trick them? So, yes. Oil pulling is very effective, especially when you do it with coconut oil. I agree, Gogo. Hunter Walker says that they bet their friend back in 2016 $100 that Trump would never build a wall or put Clinton in jail. He still will not pay up. Oh, wow. Just wait for it. It's coming. The day of their arrest, it's coming. Just wait. Just a little bit longer. Hey, Starlion, how's it going? Been a long time. Glad to see you still stream. I think I've not been here since before 1984. Well, I wasn't even alive back then. Knowledge Seeker says, I've been trying to tell people when Trump got into office, she was supposed to end up in office. Yep, exactly. The Simpsons foreshadowed Trump. The Lego movie had Trump as president business, this business tycoon who becomes the leader of the free world. Every single thing points to Trump being completely controlled. But that hope that people have, they don't want to believe the truth, I guess. With the whole Q psyop, they kind of gave us all, to be quite fair, I never even fully watched all of the videos that they put out because it's they're just promoting Donald Trump as this hero, and it makes me want to vomit. I cannot sit there and listen to these disgusting lies. But they released all of this, Epstein flight logs and all of this, evidence showing that these evil ones were running our world. And then at the same time, they're like, oh, don't worry, though. Trust the plan. Trump has weaseled her way into office and is taking care of everything, saving the children. Oh, my gosh. It's Trump is saving the children for herself. She said sexual things about her own child, Ivan, who is a little boy that's been dressed up as a girl since birth. And people want to think that is a hero? Anyone who says sexual things about their own children should be ran away from. What is the problem with you? JL says, hi, Anana, how are you doing? I'm doing great, thank you. It is a beautiful day, and I'm hoping to get out and get some tanning in after a bit. Ever heard of a podcast called The Paranormies? Not the YouTube channel. No, I don't. Q is run by Michael Aquino. Is this I'm not sure. I know that they were saying somebody was. Michael Aquino looks like a girl. Holy cow. Let me just post this. I have this link here. Copy image link. Michael Aquino, LOL. Grandma alert. Oh no, the link is too long. Okay, that's sad. I'm not convinced that this person is in charge of Q. I believe that Q is mainly NSA, Deep State, and the CIA hiding behind a mask, basically, like just in a psyop here. There's another person that they try to say was the leader of Q as well. This is a hilarious image. I really wish I could share it with you. Her eyebrows like giving up. There we go. Yay. Everybody take a second and click on the Michael Aquino link and laugh. Starline says most satanic of Lilith worshipping psyops. Okay. I am not. I mean, I know that a lot of Satanists do worship Lilith, but I'm not necessarily. I don't know about Q being linked with all of that, and I'm not really trying to get into that. Some cycles Lilith and Inanna get along, but others we don't. And I would prefer if Lilith would jump on board and help me rather than fight me. I mean, that's all I can say. I can only do what I can do. I can't actually force somebody to stop fighting me. Jason says Trump was never serious about being president. He did not need the money. It was just a hobby for him. Okay, I will talk about Trump. Trump was actually a failed businesswoman. And I agree that it's not about the money. It's about her getting praised as a hero. Like it's an ego thing. That it's not about money. If you will invert yourself and do what Satan asks, he will give you all the money that you want. Like Trump is a failed businesswoman that has been bailed out of debt so many times by the Rothschild, these other entities. So I agree. It's not about money for her. It's about being praised and people saying, oh, Trump was sent here by God and all of this other stuff. Being the New World Order Trump card is what it's about, not about money. I agree. Hey, Nicholas Pitts, how's it going? James Munder died. I think they are shadow banning his name in chat. I have no idea who James Munder even is. I don't follow anybody or have any heroes or anything like that. Let me see who this James person is. A wealth management advisor with the Northwestern Mutual Wealth Company? Or is this somebody else? A YouTube star that died in a traffic accident? Which James Munder are we talking about now that there are multiple ones pulling up? May 22nd, 2022. Maybe this one. No, the YouTuber. I'm not sure, like, what is this person's backstory? I don't know anything about them to understand why I should care about the situation. As nicely as I can put that. Especially if they're a star. Most likely they're an invert and they faked their death. So pardon me for not losing any tears. Munder was a streamer. He uses the F Society logo. Flat Earth Society or F Society? I'm not sure. He's been in the truth community a lot like you since 2015. Gotcha. Yeah, I've never followed anybody. I don't have anybody that I go and watch their videos. Like I'm the leader of my own walk here. So let me look at this person's James Munder. I wanted to see their YouTube channel just to see. Is this the Munderground News? Not sure. Anyways, he was a flat earther, but chose not to talk about it a lot. Okay, I wonder why. But anyways, that is interesting. I'd have to transvestigate him to even, look into it. That's like my starting point with anybody is if they are a real human or not, and then we'll go from there. Do you believe in celebrities playing multiple roles? No, I do not. I believe that most often a character like Bill Gates is a character. The character is played by multiple puppets, and the puppets don't play multiple different characters. Like rarely does one puppet play multiple roles. But right now they're trying to basically send out psyops saying that everybody is everybody else, and even confusing like male MTFs with FTMs when it's not possible, right? Like some say that Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus are the same when Miley Cyrus is biologically a male and Justin is biologically a female. So they literally cannot be the same person. It doesn't make sense. Same with, they try to say that Melinda Gates is Kevin Kline and Robin Williams, when Melinda Gates, again, is a biological male and Kevin Kline and Robin Williams are both biological females, so they can't be the same character. Not only the multiple roles thing, but they're also trying to convince us that they're all wearing masks or even bodysuits, and that's just ridiculous. There may be occasions where they will put something in front of us wearing a mask just to promote that psyop, but as far as the everyday, like, inverted lifestyle, they're not getting up every day and putting on a mask and putting on like some bodysuit. Like they are actually going and getting surgeries to try to be the opposite that they're not, right? If it's FTM, they're getting their breasts taken off, they're getting implants. Then the opposite way around, the MTFs, they're getting breast implants, they're potentially getting, if they have a giant jaw, they're getting it shaved down or getting an Adam's apple removed or other things. They're not putting on bodysuits or any of this like ridiculous stuff. Munder is just a hot zone. Oh, wait. Herman says the Dallas police were posted outside, not letting sane people protest. Interesting. What protest are you even talking about there? Okay. Sorry, I didn't see your previous one. Just recently in Dallas, in support of LGBTQ, let parents take their children into an actual bar, and a drag queen was dancing and actually taking tips from the children. Wow. And the Dallas police were posted outside, not letting any sane people protest. That is crazy, but it's not necessarily surprising anymore with how, the drag story time and how much they're trying to promote this. And one of the observations I've personally had, it's like in the educational system, for me growing up, like I went to a Christian school, so I was never exposed to any of this, sexual degeneracy and all of this stuff. But in a public school, in general, in the past, you've had conservative and liberal teachers. And I'm not trying to get into the Hegelian dialectic, this paradigm of these arguments, but I'm just making general statements is that, more conservative people tend to not be teaching children sexual things, and while on the other hand, liberals wanting to teach children at 3 years old about genders and even anal sex and just ridiculous stuff, right? My point being is that over time, as the school curriculums change and they make the public school system follow this downward slope into degeneracy, the conservative teachers are going to be like, I can't function in this anymore. Like, I'm not going to be calling my these students by opposite pronouns. I'm not going to be teaching these things. So it's like over time, the more conservative people are going to be leaving the profession only to leave the other ones in there, right? And I've said many times before that pedophiles and inverts and other, child abusers flock to positions and professions where they can be around children and grooming them often. Like if they could be in a situation where they're protected as a teacher, nobody knows that they're a pedophile, and they're around your children every day, they're the ones teaching that your children that it's right to be gay. Like, that's scary to me. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be homeschooling, but it's just interesting in a sad way to see how these things are being normalized and how parents are not only like supporting it or like, yeah, not only supporting it, like they're encouraging it. Like the programming for parents is that if you don't accept this lifestyle, if you don't feed into it, then, you know, you're a bad mommy, you hate your child, like all of these very negative and essentially wrong programs, right? In reality, a real good mother is going to care about her child and want what's best for her child. And at a soul level, every real human knows that what is best for their child is not to be getting pounded in the butt by another dude or a boy putting on a dress. Like that's not what any mother wants for their child. So we need to go back to these original, you know, those gut feelings that you have, that gut feeling that says, you know, we should be standing against this pedophile programming, or even more in the truther community, we should be standing against drinking pee. Like this gut feeling that you have when you know that something is off, we really need to embrace that and follow it rather than following whatever society says, like, oh, you're a bigot. Well, guess what? If that's what you want to call me, I don't care. But if you come near my son, I am going to pass you on to the next realm. And you can call me a bigot all you want over there. As long as you are away from my child, I do not care. Like, anyways. Let me just skim through here. There's another thing that I also wanted to cover really quickly, which kind of goes along with everything that we have been taught being a lie. And that is hold on one second. Some of the psychological topics that we have, psychological programming that we have been under, specifically talking about the Stanford prison experiment and the Milgram shock experiment. And I want to get to that in just a second. Atreus says, opinions on Gematria, never heard you speak on this. I personally am not into numbers. I know that there are numbers hidden in all of these things. There are species like the Jinn that basically get off on these long math problems, like with globe Earth, how they have these giant numbers. And not only are the numbers really big, but there's 666 woven throughout all of these numbers. Like you're constantly finding them in all of the mathematical equations. They're really into that kind of stuff. And my soul has had a resistance to that for a very long time. Like I prefer numbers, or I mean, I prefer letters over numbers, like words. But I am aware that there are, you know, messages and all this Gematria stuff in it. I personally, like I said, I'm not going down that. The nerdiest that you're going to find me is in chess and other things like that. I'm not going into numbers personally. Let me look here and see what it is. So you don't believe Aliyah is Natalie Rose. I have to look at both characters, but most likely not. We'll see. A lot of the pictures that they show with people that are supposedly the same person will show, you know, they try to show half of the person's face, but they won't like cut it right down the middle. They'll cut it like a little bit over to the side, or, you know, maybe you'll cut it this way. They never do it actually straight on to get an accurate showing of these two faces. They are doing it purposefully to manipulate and make it fit when they don't fit. I'd have to see pictures of these two together to be able to determine if they are the same or not. And nothing is exactly coming up. Which is kind of surprising, because usually when you, like, if I were to search some of these other ones that are supposedly the same, they'll come up and show pictures right off the bat, them two together. So I'll have to look into that one later, but usually I just are on the side of saying no, that they're not the same until I have definitive female that, or I just saw someone say female, definitive evidence that they are the same. Usually when I'm looking at comparisons, they try with the Q psyop, they're trying to say that all of these celebrities have been executed and now they have clones taking their roles. And just, it's like, well, the clone has the same exact teeth as them, the same ears, the same eyes. Like, that's not how cloning works. Even, you know, nature's twins, identical twins, nature's clones, comma, identical twins. There are subtle differences. Like, parents can tell their children apart even when they are identical twins. So when you're trying to look and see if two people are the same, you know, check their teeth, check their ears, check their eyes, like the shape of their eyes. You know, these things, they can't be, you know, they're not going to be the same if it is a clone. Let me see. Thank you guys all for being here again. It's exciting to have these live chats with people like-minded. And Nicholas says Alex Stein covered that drag event and the cops being there. Another flat earther. Okay. Rig 5, it says sexual preference shouldn't be a public issue or something to be celebrated. I agree, especially if they are degenerate. Hunter Walker says, how about that Supreme Kavanaugh and Christina Ford? I think they are the same person. I think that is one of the times that they may have done, that they may have had the same character in, yeah, I've definitely seen this one before, and it's pretty convincing evidence that they are the same character. And they will occasionally do something like this where they put on a psyop or a show to see how many humans are paying attention. 99% of what we see on TV is completely fake. Even, you know, the mass shootings, the terrorists, they basically put on this Hollywood production, and they get really piss poor crisis actors, like parents that can't even shed one tear when their child just died. Like, that doesn't make any logical sense. And it's funnier to them and the spiritual world if humans are, you know, terrified of the recent school shooting, right? This supposed cross-dresser that people are terrified of because they did this horrible thing. It's like, well, the person technically never even like lifted a gun or, I mean, hurt a fly. Like, obviously being an inverted person and lying, they're hurting people. But I'm saying, like, they never actually went anybody, and now all of these people are like afraid of them or being programmed by these actions that are not actually even happening, right? Like on 9/11, where these empty buildings, this controlled demolition happens, and people are afraid of Muslim terrorists now, right? And there wasn't even any, like, it wasn't a real situation. So we definitely always have to be on guard and paying attention to what psyops are being played. And if you see it on the television, it's best to just not believe it. Better to stay on the safe side and not. Starline says some are gay because of economics and social status. I would definitely, I understand in some cultures, I was watching some documentary about this pedophile problem in other countries and how little boys, you know, are going on the streets and doing all of this stuff. And it's really hard to wrap your mind around how humanity could get to that state. But when we have all of these other outside, you know, influences trying to influence us down these pathways, and dark forces try and crush us down, like making it to where, let's say, a person has to get a jab or they lose their job, right? Crushing them down and putting them in these really tough positions where they potentially have to, you know, compromise their morals or what they believe to keep putting food on the table for their children. Like, that's not exactly the conversation that we're talking about here, but it's just kind of goes along the same lines of what humans can be pushed to do or influenced to do, especially in, you know, economic tough situations and stuff like that. Very sad. Chad says 98% are gay from sexual abuse. The other 2% are just weak and easily confused people. I think that it all comes from abuse of various types. There have been studies about atrazine in labs making male frogs lay eggs, and mercury influencing birds to be gay as well. And these things being, sprayed on our crops, sprayed in the air, everywhere around us to try to cause these different issues as well. On top of the fact that society is like so about that lifestyle right now that it's like shoved down our throats at every corner. And again, if you don't accept it, then you're a bigot, and it's all packaged as love. But if you disagree with them, you will see that it is not about love, because the claws will definitely come out. I don't go around claiming to be about love and light. That's just not my style. I certainly don't love pedophiles. I don't love people that are abusing me. I don't just blanketly just love everybody. That's just not realistic. The love and light people, the people that go around trying to claim to be spiritual and be all about love and light, it's like, go take a look in their freezer and see all of the animal corpses that they have being stored in there, and then snap out of that delusion that they are all about love and light, because someone that's about love and light would not be eating animals. And that's like the bare minimum. Let me see here. Starline says a woman into chess is such a relief in today's world and not a Netflix series. Yes, well, I'm actually a real woman as well, unlike those that you see on Netflix. And I have shown off my flaring hips many times. I'm actually pretty happy to put them next to anybody's, any girls that you're still holding on to, these Hollywood celebrities. I will put my hips next to theirs so that you can see who has the female flaring hips. And it's like, there's a reason why it's an all invert, industry, because if there's a real girl put next to them, it just totally ruins the delusion. It's like, why does she have these hips that are like very obvious? And even when these MTFs stick out to the side, there's nothing there. Like, they can't produce a real hip bone worth nothing. Yeah. And as far as that Netflix series goes, I think they just picked the ugliest character and gave them the worst haircut. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around how guys find Beth Harmon attractive at all. But it just is because he plays chess. I think that's the only reason why, because he is just very hard on the eyes. But I'm not a guy, so I guess it doesn't really matter what I have to say. Richard Spencer is from Dallas, who I'm not sure who that is. They killed Kennedy there. Well, Kennedy assassination was a hoax. Anyways. Kyle says, I honestly believe Biden now and Biden before 2008 are two different people. They look nothing alike, and their signatures aren't even the same. There's a pretty good picture of them and showing, how their ears are different, and many of their biomarkers are different. So I do agree with that, but not. That goes along with what I was saying. It's like a character being Biden. Biden is a character, right? And multiple puppets playing that role. So it's not like, the original Biden is now like playing Trump or something ridiculous. Like, hopefully no one takes this out of context and says that I'm promoting that, because it's actually so stupid. But, they would be promoting that person is now playing this person. What I'm saying, there's multiple people playing one character. So yes. Harmon Walker says, I have to go now. Thanks for talking to us in the chat. Oh, thank you for joining. I appreciate that. And hopefully you can join next week. I hope to be outside in front of Mount Shasta so that you can see her beauty. Clint says, wait, what hips? I dare you. I can try to see. The thing is, I have to be careful of moving my computer because my charger's not working. But you see this? When I stick my hip out to the side, you can see that there is something definitely there. And when you go and look at all of these bathing suit models, they're sticking their hips out to the side, and it's a completely smooth, just disgust fest. Hey, Steven, how's it going? Steven says, how long have you been vegan? I was for around 6 months for the same reason. Cool. I have been vegan since 2017, maybe. Unfortunately, I didn't write down my vegan anniversary, but that is about the time that I went vegan. That's cool that you are vegan as well. I grew up in mainstream Christianity, and then I started to go down the rabbit hole and found some of the teachings of the Essene Christ, and he basically taught purification, and that God doesn't want us to go and sacrifice animals for forgiveness. He wants us to actually be present in the moment and choose decisions that are going to be good. And when we mess up, then, we repent of those things and we do what we can to amend them. Like if you do your neighbor wrong, you do whatever you can to make it better or make up for it, rather than this whole concept of, going out and killing an animal and then, somehow that makes us forgiven for our sins. So the purification teachings are really what inspired me. And so that is where I am. The Bible talks about, in Genesis 1, it talks about the Garden of Eden. Well, it actually talks about creation of the earth in this realm that we are in, how we're underneath a firmament. And it goes into, towards the end, saying that we are supposed to eat raw herb and fruit-bearing seed. That would be ideally what I do want to eat, but I do struggle, like I was saying earlier, with eating delicious vegan food. It's like my biggest temptation in life to eat delicious food, which I guess if that's like my biggest temptation in life, I'm doing pretty good. But it's definitely a struggle to try to do exactly what we were meant to do, especially when most of us have spent our whole lives, for instance, eating cooked food and eating food that wasn't exactly food, eating poison, and trying to get away from that is very, very hard. So I definitely applaud those who have already transitioned to, fruitarian, and who are trying to work on this path and purify yourselves. Like, really good. Clint said being human is difficult. It definitely is, Clint, especially when there are so many agendas around us to trip us up, and our enemy is active against us, right? Always constantly whispering things into our ear to influence us and to lead us further into corruption. Stephen says, I wish things were same as they once were in the original garden. Well, there's also in the Bible prophecies in Isaiah, I think Isaiah 11:6 or 6:11. Let me see. 9 through 11. Nope. Anyways, prophecies about the future. Here it is. Isaiah 11:6 through 9. The future Israel in God's holy mountain, where they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And during this time, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard shall lie with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together. All of these animals that you wouldn't necessarily find together being in peace and harmony like this in this future golden age is really exciting. And that is what I relate to the golden age that I talk about is, I call it a golden age, but even in Revelation, it talks about, we go through this tribulation, and then the Christ is on the throne for 1,000 years, and pretty much everything is a paradise. Like that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the golden age, and the protection of innocence and the peace and the prosperity and all of that fun stuff. The last thing that I wanted to mention, I'm probably going to jump off of here soon, but I did want to mention briefly some of these psychological experiments that have actually turned out to be hoaxes. The first one that I started to research was the Stanford prison experiment. And there are, tapes and documentation that are not given to the public that talk about how, the guards were told to act a certain way, and basically it was a scripted show and it wasn't actually real. But this kind of experiment is presented to us in a way that, oh, there's this evil dark side of humanity and it's just waiting to get out, like not only the Stanford prison experiment, but the Milgram shock experiment, where people were, they set it up to where one was the student and one was the teacher, and the teacher would ask questions to the student, and when the student got them wrong, the teacher was supposed to shock them. Well, if you actually look into the unpublicized, I guess, and not really, I mean, I guess they're in Milgram's journals and stuff, which I believe are at Yale or maybe Stanford. Anyways, I think it must be Yale because that's where they were operating out of. But there's so much evidence that shows that Milgram's experiment, where saying, like 65% of people will shock you if the authorities say, it's like, if you actually go and look into what happened behind the scenes and how, like, let's say the people that would actually crank up the volume of the shock and push the button didn't believe that the experiment was actually real. And the people that wouldn't crank it up actually did. So the people that thought that the experiment was real hesitated to push the button. They fought back against the person that was telling them to do it. And we're not told this. We're only told all of these people went and pushed the button. It's like, well, why didn't you tell us that those people didn't believe that it was real? Well, because that would have destroyed the whole experiment, right? They can't tell you that it was a setup, that the people that were pushing the button were told by the scientists, you must keep going. If you don't keep going, the experiment is going to be null and void. That person's fine. Don't worry about it. You have to keep going. Like, they were being pushed constantly to keep pushing the button. There's even, like, I think their name is Gina Perry. They have interviewed people that were involved with the Milgram experiment and blown all of this out of the water, that the people didn't actually believe that it was real. And the ones that did believe that it was real were far less likely to actually push the button. Humans we aren't inherently this evil creatures. Most humans will hear, in this situation, the teacher was pushing the button and they would hear the student, scream in pain. When humans hear that, when humans see other humans in pain, there's a certain natural, like, empathy response that they can empathize with that, and it stops them from continuing to do the evil, right? Obviously, there are situations where there are humans that are broken, but the general scenario is that humans aren't evil. And when we are put in this situation, we do question authority, especially when it comes down to, if there's somebody sitting in their chair here and what I'm doing is purposefully hurting them, like, it's just not human nature. So these psychology experiments have been promoted and have really tried to manipulate humans again into being the worst versions of themselves possible, to try to also influence how we feel and interact with other humans, right? If we're all kind of looking over our shoulders and like, wow, I don't trust that person because as soon as the authorities give them a shock button, they're going to shock me, right? Like, we kind of are programmed with this underlying fear almost of humans and how they can be evil. It kind of also goes along with all of the serial killers that we have been programmed with, and them actually not being real at all. Just, again, Hollywood production, Hollywood films shown to us and presented as real so that we will act and react in different ways, thinking that these Jim Jones Kool-Aid and the Manson murders and all of this stuff going to program us in various different ways. It's like a constant minefield almost. You have to watch where you step, because in one false move, you're going to step on a psyop and get blown up. Not that dramatic, but still. Jason says, I have no problem with what people choose to be in their life, straight or gay or both, etc. But the Bible did say it was Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. LOL. I understand that point of view, but we also do share group consciousness. So if some people are going to be acting like degenerates, it ends up affecting us all. And so, yeah. Also, if you really like care about souls and want them to be the best versions of themselves possible, you're going to want them to not be living these lifestyles that ultimately are not healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. Like, exactly like you said, God designed it to be Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And there is, this beautiful bond that's created with male and a female, in love. I'm not talking about the crap that we are seeing in our world today, this hookup culture of degeneracy and sodomy, right? The sodomite focus is what is being shoved down our throats, right? It's not ever this cute romance fairy tale, male and female becoming versions of themselves and falling in love and having the wonderful experience of sex, and then the baby that comes with all of that. Like, it's not any of that, right? It's the pornography, it's the sexual degeneracy that's just everywhere, and they're trying to promote us to be that way for a reason. It's corrupting to the mind, body, and soul, especially when it's a guy, because males were not created to be penetrated, and it really messes up everything about them to be in that situation. Kyle says they went vegan in October last year. Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations. Steven says, love you share the same beliefs. So much good coming. I agree. That is very nice. It's really nice that we get to connect with people, like I was saying earlier, all over the world through this technology, being alive at this time, even though, we are experiencing so much hardships in the world, we can actually connect with people that are like-minded and try to find the real humans out there in the haystack, right? Atreus says, makes me wonder if Richard Ramirez and those killers were fabricated. Yes, I'm not actually sure who Richard Ramirez is personally, but let me look really quick. Okay. The walk-in killer and most infamously the Night Stalker, American serial killer, serial rapist, kidnapper, child molester, and burglar. Kind of looks like, oh my gosh, look at this picture. This looks like a girl, an FTM. So, someone that doesn't have a penis and can't technically do so much of the raping, right? And inverts can't technically kill. Here's this Richard. It's like a very girly eyes in this picture. Obviously, FTMs are harder because they can add implants. They can, put a brow ridge implant. They can make their jaw huge. Like, they can add more. But one of the things for FTMs, I would definitely encourage you to look in their eyes, because they're always very soft and girly, like energy coming from the eyes, the windows to the soul. Pat said, I tried vegan but settled with dairy in. Well, hopefully you will try it without dairy, because you're not a baby cow. You don't need to be consuming dairy. I always thought that I could never give up cheese, but I actually make my own vegan cheeses, and they are amazing. I can share some of those recipes later if that is your main temptation to dairy. If you're talking about drinking milk, almond milk, or not almond milk, I meant to say oat milk. Oat milk is usually really thick and creamy, so that's a pretty good substitute for drinking dairy. Anyways, in another another live stream, I'll probably talk more in depth about these psychological experiments that turned out to be hoaxes, but it just goes to show again how so many things are a complete inversion of the truth, and how our reality, everything around us, is being manipulated to control us, to deceive us, to confuse us, so that we can be corrupted and be turned into clowns. Ooh, vegan nacho cheese recipe would be awesome. That sounds really delicious. I make a vegan nacho cheese, jalapeno nacho cheese dip out of carrots and potatoes. And that is what I serve on Mount Shasta during my full moon celebrations. If anybody wants to come and meet me in real life, I host full moon celebrations on Mount Shasta We have a fire, a drum circle. Usually people bring their guitars and everything. And I make a big buffet of vegan food to share with everybody. I've had people say that it's the best food that they've ever had in their lives. So definitely would come out and enjoy it. Camping on the mountain is free, and Mount Shasta is known as the meeting place of heaven and earth. So everyone should definitely check it out at least once in their lifetime. And you should do it during one of my events so you can come and meet me. Yay. Chad says the vegan cheese recipe just needs to be pinned on your profile. I agree. I am having the first vegan... I'm technically having the second annual vegan festival on Mount Shasta. It'll be Wednesday, the 13th. But my summer is kind of looking a little bit chaotic right now, so I'm not sure how many other events I'm going to be able to get to. So that is the only one that I technically have on my schedule for right now, but I probably will do one in October as well. So I'll have to let you know. But if you can plan to be here next month on the 13th, which is a Wednesday, I'll be up there from Wednesday evening, afternoon-ish until Thursday morning. And hopefully the sky is clear up on Mount Shasta. It's like you just see everything so beautifully, and the moonrise and the sunset and everything. It's just a really beautiful experience. So if you are able to come into town for that, I definitely encourage you to. I don't charge anybody for food or anything, so you don't need to worry about any of that. Come and hang out with me. Anyways, I am going to head off of here, and I will be back with you on next Sunday at noon. If there are any other topics that you want me to discuss, I would definitely be interested in hearing that. So until then, let me just see what this says. Ghee is considered good for bones. That is what mainly I consume in dairy. A2 protein milk, which is mainly organic milk from cows with a hump. They do try to say that milk and other things are good for us, but actually they're linked to osteoporosis. The cows, there's a direct correlation with the cows, their milk getting sucked out of them and all of the nutrients that are being leached out of their bones and stuff. And then when you take that and you consume it yourself, there's a direct correlation with basically what goes, like what you put out comes back to you. So those animals that are in pain, that are, their minerals are being leached out of their bones and stuff, those same types of things can happen to you in response to that. Yeah, I would definitely look into not consuming cow's milk anymore, because humans are the only ones that still consume milk after they're weaned. And it's not even milk from our own species. So it's really not natural at all. And mucus forming, acidic, and all of that stuff. So definitely look into that. Steven says, how's the chess tournament going? I saw it was correspondence that I thought started already. If it was blitz, I may try it. I'm actually talking about getting another correspondence tournament happening. The first one is already started right now, and one of the left side of the bracket is already in the finals. It's the semifinals. So if you guys haven't checked that out, I definitely encourage you to. But in the future, I do want to set up some blitz tournaments, whether I have to go on to other platforms or not. So I'll keep you in mind for that. Stephen here is a FIDE master and very experienced chess player. So thank you for joining. And if you do end up playing in the tournament, that'll be really exciting to see. Hi, gracious love. How's it going? Sending blessings to all in these miraculous times. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Jason says, cheers, and on a cool show. Thank you. Kyle said, I sent you a Facebook private message. Get back to me on that one. You can. Okay, I will definitely do that. So until next time, guys, I will be on Facebook. Hopefully I don't get banned from there. But I will catch up with you on Sunday at noon. Until then, have a wonderful week. May God and the Goddess bless you.